Hello, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Cindy.
And welcome to Homeschool Roots. So today we're going to talk about something that comes up quite a bit when people are considering whether or not to homeschool their child, and that is social interactions. That is a primary criticism of homeschooling, that your child will be deprived of social interactions. We're here to say that is absolutely incorrect. If anything, they get better and more social interaction with homeschooling if done correctly. And so today we're just going to give you some pointers on how to make sure that your child is getting the best social interaction. And the first and foremost is you need to teach your child how to socialize and communicate with others.
Yes, so important. I mean, it's like everything else. It starts at home. And your child, first of all, needs to know how to interact respectfully and happily with people in the family. And they learn that primarily from us as parents. And yes, children go through different stages when they're not as socially adept, or maybe they're more grumpy all the time. But overall, if you can sit down as a family and talk together and enjoy a game together or a movie or the family meal, birthday parties, if you can interact well together and laugh together, then your children are on their way to being able to interact with other people as well.
And the reality is, it does start at home. One of the biggest recommendations I have, eat together.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. People think, and people kind of know they should, but I'm busy.
Right.
She has soccer practice. And like in my family, all meals, all dinners were eaten together. Mm-hmm. So if the soccer practice was at that time, soccer practice had to go. I mean, that was a priority. So we recommend making a priority for your family is to have meals together.
Yes. And if you have activities that can't be, moved, and you're not willing to give them up, then pack a picnic supper and everybody go to the soccer practice and sit around and watch and cheer for one another, on a regular basis. There may be times when you can't always sit down together, but on a regular basis, it should be the norm for your family to eat together and to be able to talk at the table. No phones, no electronics, no watching the TV or movies. That when you eat together, you are just enjoying one another's company. That's going to be the first step to them being able to interact with other people. And then what you can do, if you know your child is going to meet new people and they're shy, they're having trouble interacting, is practice. Practice with your child. You pretend that you are the person that they're meeting. Let them shake your hand, look them in the eye. Let the child practice looking at you in the eye and looking pleasant to one another. You can make it fun when you practice. You can have rewards. You can take on different personas and wear costumes, and make it fun for the child. But let them practice saying hello. Usually with a child, the other person is going to initiate the conversation. So you can practice as a stranger, or someone they're being introduced to, that you say, "Hi, what's your name?" And your child can practice saying, "My name is," whatever it is. And
it may sound a little silly, but
yeah.
Trust me, it works.
Yes.
The biggest thing, make sure you teach your child to be approachable. Smile, it goes a long way. These things seem basic, but remember, your child needs to learn these things.
Yeah.
And they learn them from you.
Yes.
So they need to know how to smile and be pleasant and be approachable, because if they're not approachable,
Yes.
like that, people are less likely to approach them.
Yeah.
And so just learning how to just smile. You don't have to be, super fake about it, but just, "Hi, how are you doing?" Just that basic friendliness can go a long way towards starting a conversation, which can lead to friendships.
Yes. And that basic beginning exchange, "Hi, how are you?" A child can practice saying, "I'm good, thanks, how are you?" We say that now without even thinking about it, and that's good. That it's a natural response, and it's natural because it's practiced. And so if you help your child know what to say, they don't feel tongue-tied or embarrassed, I didn't know what to say back to them. Well, then, just practice a little bit.
Okay, and then another one is a big one, and it will go a long way towards A, your child socializing better, and B, you getting some accolades and pats on the back. Make sure you teach your child to respect everyone, and to make sure that, because at some point they're gonna run into somebody that is mentally disabled or physically disabled, is obese, or just something like that. You teach your child not to point and to just treat everybody with respect. Doesn't mean they have to be friends with everybody, but just to have that basic kindness and respect, and to not necessarily ask exactly what's on their mind of somebody. You'll get so many compliments. Cindy gets so many compliments, and everyone gets so many compliments for their children when they're so respectful, especially towards adults. 2020 or 1920 doesn't matter. People want children to respect adults.
Yes, and you want to cultivate in yourself and in your children an attitude of caring for others. And when you see something happening, like maybe another child having a meltdown in the store, rather than just snicker and point and back away, ask your child and think yourself, can I do anything to make this situation better?
Exactly.
You can go a long way. A mom that has a toddler that's absolutely in meltdown mode, if you can share a kind word, if you can help distract the child in some way, sometimes if there's an opportunity to do something to really make things better. And if you can't do it right then, later sit down with your child. When that happened at the store, when we were together, can you think of anything that we could have done that could have made that better? And if you can't make it better, then back away. Don't make it worse.
Exactly.
But you might be able to do something very simple. Or the person that's at the checkout that doesn't have quite enough money and they're embarrassed and starting to put things back. How can you make that better? If you're able, pay for the balance. Try to help in some way.
I want to say a true story. We were at Target, and this lady, she was counting pennies to try to pay, and my mom went up and said, I want to pay for her bill. And I was just like, what? It's not our responsibility, but my mom did it. And the cashier was just so impressed. She's like, that made my day, and she meant it.
Yeah.
To see just that act of kindness to someone that a stranger is that's something you want to teach your children. And if your children, and I've done that because I saw my mom do it, and it just makes a big difference. Have some compassion. Don't just laugh. They don't have money.
Right.
Who knows? You could be there someday. And you'd be appreciative if someone did that for you. Number 3 is going to be your neighbors. Your neighbors, especially if you have homeschooling neighbors, is even better. But just your neighbors, the neighborhood kids, if you feel comfortable, like they're going to be a good influence, get to know them. My mom used to take me and my sister would go out and talk to the neighbors. Hey, does your child, our kids are about the same age. How about we organize a play date? Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Yes, once you're, secure in your family relationships and you're looking for ways to socialize a child that's homeschooled, start with the people right around you. Probably your children see the neighbors every day, coming and going, and in the yard and outside, and so you can begin there with being on friendly terms with the neighbors, and always say hello when you see them, and teach your child to acknowledge
even if you don't like them,
their presence. That's
say
right.
hello.
Especially if you don't like them. Reach out. Always say hi. Always acknowledge people's presence, and show that you respect them as people, and that you see them there. That you don't they're not invisible to you.
Exactly. Number 4, family activities, church groups that meet together. This is a big deal. So you got your family activities. Our church is a huge thing for socialization. That's how me and Cindy, we got to know each other. It was through the church. It's just a wonderful, especially if you're looking for like-minded people. That doesn't mean everyone at church is going to agree with you and everything, but more likely than not, especially nowadays, people that take the time to go to church are probably people who who want to enrich their lives with Christ.
Yes. And most churches, including ours, have activities specifically for children to be together, so they meet one another and they're in a not only a learning environment, but they play together and with interactive activities, and they get to know children of many different cultural backgrounds. You know, in our situation, there are people from all over the world here, so they're going to meet people, other kids from many different countries, and they get to be best buddies, and they see one another, and the families can get to know each other, and it's just a great way for families to meet one another and for children to have friends and start to interact socially.
Okay, so next is going to be sports. Definitely, it's kind of goes without saying, sports are a great way, especially your boys are going to really appreciate it. Girls too, though. I mean, girls like sports too.
That's right.
And so, sports, you can get into sports leagues. I mean, there's going to be other things to socialize. But I want to talk about, I think people kind of already know these things. I think what people are concerned about is just during the day that they're spending all their time with just their brother and their sister, and they're not socializing, whereas in public school, they'd be around. But we actually feel like that may kind of be a hindrance, because if they're only surrounded by just children their age, it's not the same as whereas if they are at a church, they are at maybe sports, there are other places, and they're going to be able to socialize with adults, younger children the same age. And so we want that diversity of socialization, not just people that are just in their grade.
That's right. It's really an unnatural environment, because the school is the only place where children are going to be age segregated in their whole life, in their work life, in family life. They're always going to have people around them that are different ages, different backgrounds, and we shouldn't, I don't think there's a lot of value in saying that they're socialized because they're in an age segregated class. To me, it's much more important that they can feel comfortable in any setting where they go in. They can express themselves, they can look people in the eye, they can have confidence in a variety of settings. And you get that far more in the homeschool setting, because even if your children are just going to the store with you, or running errands, or going on field trips, or organizing things with other families, they are going to be interacting with a much wider age range of people than they ever will in their class level, at a school.
And another thing is, if you have one available, a co-op. I mean, homeschool co-ops are great. I mean, because there's going to be diversity of ages, and you're going to get to meet different parents and people that are like-minded because they're homeschooled. So you can control more of the environment to make sure that at those critical ages that they are around similar families that share similar values.
Yes. It may be challenging, but you need to look for opportunities of where you can get together. If there's not a co-op, maybe you can start one. If you know different families that are homeschooling, if you don't have an ongoing co-op, maybe you could do some events together, like a science fair, or a spelling bee, or some type of project art festival, or a talent show night. Just anything where you can interact. That's not a lot of work. It's not that has to take over your life, and you can't homeschool because you're so busy trying to organize this group. But even just simple things, going on field trips together, and different activities, and then it may grow into something where you are meeting regularly, and it can even be a bigger help. Don't be afraid to start something, to start the play group together, to start the homeschool fun night, every so often, where maybe the families just get together and interact, play games, or watch a movie, or eat together.
And it'll be fun for you and your child, because one of the things, for example, with getting together with other homeschoolers, we have some friends, and one of them, the dad is really good at teaching math. and the other one is really good at teaching English. So then they just swap. So it's, they didn't have to spend the money to hire a tutor. So then, so doing a co-op can really work. Just getting together with other homeschoolers. We said this in other videos. Other homeschoolers can be your best resource when you are doing this journey. You do not need to feel like you're alone, and maybe you're listening on people. Why are you pulling it out of school? Like, no, just other homeschoolers. You do not need permission to to decide how to educate your child. And just getting that positive reinforcement from other homeschoolers can mean a lot, not just for your child, but you as well.
Yes, good advice.
All right, so I think that's it, unless you have something you want to...
No.
I think we did pretty well, so I want to say thank you very much, and we really appreciate you taking the time to watch our videos. Make sure you subscribe, like, and ask us any questions you want, and we will answer. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.